Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Week 5 of college football was already, without a doubt, one of the wildest weekends of college football we have seen in a long, long time. 9 top 25 teams went down in Week 5, and now we enter Week 6 with another huge slate of games, a Week 6 where you're guaranteed to see at least 4 more top 25 teams go down, but as we all know, you're going to see a lot more than that. So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, here to break down the top 5 biggest games of Week 6. 4 huge ranked versus ranked matchups, but all of these games holding major implications, whether it be in their individual conferences or even on the national stage in regards to the college football playoff. So we're here to break down these 5 games for you today. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below. Especially check out those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country over there. You need to go check it out and sign up for those if you haven't already. Some of the lowest prices in the country as well. Again, can only be found on thegridironexpert.com. The link for those down in the description. So let's take a look at these top 5 games, guys. Again, 4 huge ranked versus ranked matchups. We'll talk about Alabama A&M, the only one up here that's not. But let's start at the top. And let's start with number 13, Arkansas, at number 17, Ole Miss. And to me, this is a game between 2 teams where really it's who's hungover the most, right? Who has the worst hangover coming into Oxford on Saturday morning? Arkansas coming off a 37-0 loss at Georgia. Ole Miss coming off a 42-21 loss at Alabama, a game where the Rebels actually did trail 35-0. That score making it look a little bit better than the game really was. So the Hogs and the Rebels are both coming off losses to the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country, both on the road. Understandable. Ole Miss and Arkansas didn't really fall too much in the rankings anyway, so that was understandable losses. As we've said, Alabama and Georgia are just in a league of their own, not just in the SEC, but nationally as well. And you look at Arkansas and Ole Miss, guys. You look at Arkansas and Ole Miss. This is a series in the SEC that has been really, really close for about the last 7 years. Arkansas did win last year, 33-21 in Fayetteville, picking off Matt Corral 6 times. Arkansas has won 5 of the last 7 over Ole Miss, but 4 of them have been decided by 1 possession. 4 by 1 possession. And really, guys, this is a game that really comes down to defense. It's Arkansas's defense versus Ole Miss's offense, because Ole Miss's offense that was shut down against Alabama last week is going to rebound against Arkansas. I'm not saying they're going to put up 500 yards, but they're going to put up more over 300. I can almost guarantee you that. Alabama held under that. Arkansas is allowing us 129.8 passing yards per game, one of the better secondaries and passing defenses in the country right now. Ole Miss is averaging 305.8 passing yards per game, led by Matt Corral, a guy who, again, threw 6 interceptions last year against Arkansas, but this year has thrown for over 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And we said back in the preseason when we broke down this game for Ole Miss and Arkansas on our individual videos, we said Matt Corral's not going to throw 6 interceptions again. Arkansas, I think, gets lucky if they pick off Matt Corral twice in this game. He's making great decisions. He's making great throws. He is one of the better quarterbacks in the country. So Arkansas, obviously, their key is going to be stopping the Ole Miss pass game. Ole Miss, they have to find a way to stop the Arkansas run game. The Rebels defense giving up 151.5 rushing yards per game. Arkansas averaging over 220 rushing yards per game. The Rebels got torched by Brian Robinson and Alabama on the ground last week. If they don't fix that up, Arkansas will have a field day against this Ole Miss defense. At the end of the day, though, guys, I think this game is very, very close. We've seen the series be close. I expect both teams who, again, were each handed their first loss last week to the top 2 teams in the country, ready to rebound, anxious to rebound. The winner of this, I think, solidifies themselves as the second best team in the SEC West, obviously only behind Alabama. So this is a huge, huge game. But I've got to go with Ole Miss here. I like that the Rebels have home field advantage. I like this passing attack, and let's think about it. They only lost to Arkansas by 12 last year. The Razorbacks had 6 turnovers in that game. Forced 6 turnovers, only could win by 12. And had it not been for a late pick 6, Ole Miss easily could have driven down there and won the game. Ole Miss takes better care of the football here. Home field advantage on their side. They beat Arkansas, but it's close. We head over to Dallas, number 6 Oklahoma, number 21 Texas. The Red River Showdown. And like Arkansas Ole Miss, this has an extensive history. Obviously, not Arkansas Ole Miss, but Oklahoma, Texas as one of the better rivalries in all of college football. Like our first game we talked about, the last few meetings between these squads have been very, very close. The last 7 regular season meetings have been decided by one possession. The last 7 regular season meetings between Oklahoma and Texas have been decided by one possession. Oklahoma, though, has won 5 of them. And this is a very, very intriguing game, guys. You look at this. Oklahoma, yes, is the 6th ranked team in the country. Yes, they are the Big 12 heavy favorite and deserve to be so. But the Sooners are just 5-0. I say 5-0. They're 5-0 with only one win over Western Carolina, coming by double digits. So the other 4 wins, all against FBS opponents, have come by one possession. That includes games against Tulane, Nebraska, West Virginia, and Kansas State. Texas is by far the best opponent that Oklahoma has faced all year long. And if Oklahoma's barely scraping by against these teams, what's going to be in store for them against a Texas team that has surged since that loss against Arkansas and has surged since they switched quarterbacks going from Hudson Card to Casey Thompson? So this is a great quarterback battle between Spencer Rattler, a guy who's thrown for over 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, and Casey Thompson, who's a dangerous dual-threat QB, who since taking over has thrown for over 700 yards and 9 touchdowns. Factor in Texas and Bijan Robinson, 652 yards and 7 touchdowns. This has an opportunity to be a Red River showdown, a Red River shootout, without a doubt. Last year was an absolute thriller. What did it go to? 4 overtimes? Not calling for that again, but I expect it to be another one-possession game between the Sooners and the Longhorns, and we will have our official prediction for this game on who we have winning between Oklahoma and Texas. We'll have that official prediction out for you on Thursday in our Game of the Week video. We head out to the Deep South's oldest rivalry, number 2 Georgia and number 18 Auburn. Look, this one I feel is pretty cut and dry, pretty easy to break down. How can you not go with Georgia? No disrespect to Auburn at all. Their win last week at LSU was gutsy. First win in Death Valley since 1999. A very, very impressive victory for the Tigers. But Georgia has won the last 3 regular season meetings over Auburn, only one of those coming by one possession. And many are arguing that Georgia actually is the number 1 team in the country and not Alabama. And you can make that case when you look at how well Georgia plays defense. The Bulldogs have allowed just 23 points all season long. That's it. 23 points over the course of the entire year. That's an average of 4.6 points per game allowed. They're allowing just 67.8 rushing yards per game and just 177.8 total yards per game. This has a chance to be one of the best, if not the best, defense in college football history. That's how good this Georgia defense is. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they've posted back-to-back shutouts in conference games these last 2 weeks, we should add, over Vanderbilt and Arkansas. Again, for Georgia, it doesn't really matter. The defense bails them out. The defense is their strength. Whether it's JT Daniels or Stetson Bennett, it doesn't really matter who's under center because either can beat you through the air and either can beat you on the and their running backs can beat you on the ground. Auburn, meanwhile, the major thing for them is their strength is running the ball. They average 238.2 rushing yards per game. Again, no disrespect to Auburn, but they can't run against Georgia. I don't know if any team can run against Georgia. Which means ultimately when you play Georgia, this goes for any team out there, when you play Georgia, if you want to win, if you want to have a chance, you better have a good game plan to win through the air. You better find a good game plan to get some chunk yardage by throwing the ball because you're not going to beat them in the trenches. You're not going to beat them running the ball. And Auburn's no exception. Despite it being their strength, it's not going to be an exception. It certainly was not an exception for Arkansas, a team that I think is relatively similar to Auburn in this position. So this really all comes down to Bo Nix. He played great against LSU last week. Can Bo Nix step up and get the win over Georgia in the Deep South's oldest rivalry? No, he cannot. Georgia does not post another shutout in this game. Auburn will score a few points, and by that I mean maybe 14. But Georgia will score way more than that. I think the Bulldogs win this game by at least double digits again for their 4th straight win in the regular season over the Tigers. This is another game of the week, guys. This is our game of the week right here. Number 4, Penn State at number 3, Iowa. The winner of this game solidifies themselves as the 3rd best team in the country, assuming, of course, Alabama or Georgia does not lose. And I don't think either of them will. So you look at Penn State, Iowa. The winner of this game will be number 3. It's number 4 and number 3. What a great showdown about midway through the season between 2 great teams out of the Big Ten. And by great teams, we also mean great defenses. This is going to be fantastic. A cross-division matchup within the Big Ten. Major conference championship implications. This very well could be the first of 2 meetings between Penn State and Iowa. And a game with major playoff implications as well. I will say this, though. I feel like this could be a game that's bigger for Penn State than it is for Iowa. Because Penn State is, as we all know, in the tougher division of the Big Ten. Penn State yet to play Michigan State, yet to play Michigan, yet to play Ohio State. That is a very difficult East division. While Iowa, meanwhile, no one in the West is going to challenge them for the West. No one there. So if Iowa were to lose this game at Kinnick, yes, that's not good, but they probably have a better chance to run the table the rest of the way than Penn State does. Let's keep that in mind. But this is going to be a great game, guys. Again, defensive battle. Penn State allowing just 12 points per game. Iowa allowing 11.6 points per game. We believe the Nittany Lions own the offensive advantage, but we certainly believe that Iowa owns the defensive advantage. And obviously, Kinnick Stadium is going to be rocking. Penn State, lucky this game is not at night. But we should factor in, too, that Penn State is not scared of Kinnick Stadium. Penn State has won 6 of the last 7 games over Iowa. 3 of those came at Kinnick Stadium. The lone loss they have came last year during Penn State's horrible, 0-5 start. They lost to the Hawkeyes 41-21 last year in Happy Valley. Expect a different result this year. We're not predicting a winner now. Again, this will come out tomorrow. Our Game of the Week analysis between Penn State and Iowa will predict our winner there, but it will not be a 20-point victory for either team. Expect a low-scoring, tough, close affair at Kinnick Stadium. Again, without a doubt, the best game of this weekend. And then finally, guys, we can touch on this quick. Number 1, Alabama at Texas A&M. Look, those are your top 4 games right here. If you're not going to watch much this football this weekend, make sure you watch these 4 games, right? Those first 4, those are the most important. The 5th game was tough for us to figure out. Alabama, A&M, Michigan, Nebraska. We didn't really know. We decided to go with the Tide and the Aggies here. But again, this game is not what we thought it would be. Back in the preseason, everybody was saying A&M was Alabama's toughest test in the regular season. They said, ooh, they're coming to College Station. The 12th man's going to be rocking. Alabama might lose to Texas A&M. Better watch out. Well, now that we've seen Texas A&M so far, we know that's not going to happen. They lost to Arkansas 2 weeks ago. They lost at home to Mississippi State this last week. A&M, a team that was ranked 7th in the country just 2 weeks ago, is now unranked. They now take on an Alabama team that, let's think about this, annihilated Ole Miss in their offense. An Ole Miss offense that was averaging over 600 yards per game at the time. Alabama held them to under 300 yards on the day, right? Beat them by 21. If Alabama's defense can do that to Ole Miss's offense, they can absolutely do that to Texas A&M's offense, one that has struggled mightily under Zach Calzada and has since Haynes King went down in that game against Colorado. Alabama's averaging 462.6 yards per game. They're giving up just 289.2 total yards per game. Again, this is an offense I think goes out there and torches Texas A&M, absolutely annihilates Texas A&M. Again, Will Rogers for Mississippi State threw for 408 yards and 3 touchdowns on the Aggies last week. Bryce Young can do that, maybe even better. Even though the game is in College Station, that's never stopped Alabama before. A&M in a bit of a slump. Obviously, you wonder how much of the crowd would really be on their side because they already have 2 conference losses. So even if A&M somehow upset Alabama, they wouldn't even be in the driver's seat of the SEC West. Again, nothing is going for Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies right now. Without a doubt, one of the most disappointing teams in college football this year. Alabama strolls into College Station, wins by at least 14 points, although we think it's going to be a little bit worse than that. A&M drops their 3rd straight game, again, from 7th in the country, maybe playoff hopes at one point in time, to 3-3. So, guys, there you have it, your top 5 games of Week 6. We're already 6 weeks into the season. It's hard to believe. But, again, if you're not going to watch much football, make sure you watch these first 4 games. These are the big ones. Those are the ones that are going to hold the most weight, whether it's in the conference itself or on the national stage. Penn State, Iowa prediction coming out on Wednesday. Oklahoma, Texas coming out on Thursday. FCS prediction coming out on Friday. And then games all day Saturday. Another weekend of college football that, of course, is going to take us by surprise. Of course, it's going to be wildly unpredictable. And, of course, it's just going to add to the wildness and historic season that we are already dealing with. As I've said, again, one of the wildest seasons I have ever experienced as a college football fan. So, guys, again, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And, of course, check out everything down in the description below. Sign up for those expert picks if you have not already. Again, our college football and NFL spread picks come out every Wednesday on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best picks for one of the lowest prices in the country. If you haven't signed up, do it today. One of the best decisions you'll make all season long. So make sure to go check that out. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.